Today, Morgan Stanley telling employees if you're not fully vaccinated, don't come back to the office. Warren Buffett resigning from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation 1 month after Bill and Melinda announced their divorce. And California's grid operator asks electric vehicle owners to only charge their cars during off-peak hours, is to avoid putting too much strain on the power grid. That and much more coming up on NTD Business. Good evening. Great to have you with us. If you're not vaccinated, don't come back to the office. That's what Morgan Stanley is telling employees and anyone else who wants to visit. The Financial Times reported the news. Apparently, from July 12th, if you want to come back to the bank's offices in New York City or Westchester, New York, you need to prove you're vaccinated. So for those foregoing the shot, they'll need to keep working remotely. Morgan Stanley had asked employees to be back at the office by Labor Day, but the Financial Times says it got the info from an internal memo that said the bank has set up some vaccine-only workspaces in the meantime, but that most staff members have already got their shots. And Warren Buffett is leaving the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Buffett is one of 3 members of the foundation's board. The other 2 were Bill and Melinda. Buffett didn't explain why he was leaving, but it comes a month after Bill and Melinda announced their divorce. Buffett noted that he's now resigned from all corporate boards other than his Berkshire Hathaway company. He also announced he donated $4 billion worth of Berkshire stocks to 5 charities, including the Gates Foundation, and he says he's halfway toward reaching his goal of giving away 99% of his net worth. And extreme weather is putting so much strain on California's power grid that authorities are asking residents to only charge their electric cars during off-peak times. Last year, California was forced into planned blackouts when the grid was pushed to the brink. NTD's Patrick Hayden has the story.
Californians are being asked to restrict certain types of energy use to relieve pressure on the power grid. These are called flex alerts. Electric vehicle users are being asked only to charge at off-peak times when the alert is on.
But the reason for that shortfall is not because people are using too much power. It's because California politicians for decades have been taking offline power plants, natural gas power plants, coal, nuclear.
He says in 2012, a nuclear power plant in San Diego was shut down, which took out half of all nuclear power for the state.
And in fact, just from San Onofre itself, the amount of power that's created by that power plant would have been 9 times the gap that California is experiencing right now. So think about that. One power plant that, because of bad decisions by California legislators, that power plant went offline.
Another energy expert says this is not what should be happening in the U.S.
Show me a time in the first world, show me a time in the developed world, especially a place like California, where you're not using as much energy. You're running your pool filter, you're running your air conditioning, you're running appliances. This is the quality of life we've come to expect in the developed world.
Tuna says putting restrictions on when you can use certain appliances, like charge your electric car, sounds like something that happens in a third world country. He says it's down to failed green technology. Patrick Hayden, NTD News.
In the U.S., home prices hit a new record in May. The National Association of Realtors says the price of a typical home touched just over $350,000. That's 24% higher than last year. And as prices rise, the number of houses sold each month is actually falling. The NAR says high prices are preventing some first-time home buyers from getting that dream home. Only the Midwest was the region that saw more sales in May. But with inflated asset prices comes inflated consumer prices. A new report suggests that consumers are actually bearing the brunt of inflation. NTD's Evelyn Lee reports.
Widespread commodity shortages are driving up production costs for brands like Coca-Cola, Hershey's, and Colgate. But so far, companies see inflation benefiting their profits, since they can pass higher costs on to consumers.
All I can tell you is I feel good about our ability to pass through our cost inflation and as we see it and when we need to do it.
Now companies can push prices higher because in this environment, they won't face competitive pressure. Conagra brand CFO expects the rate of inflation to continue over the next few quarters.
History shows us that price adjustments are more likely to be accepted in the market when industry-wide and broad-based input cost inflation occurs.
Other multinational consumer brands like Procter & Gamble are also increasing prices. And a global chip shortage is now also driving up prices of laptops and printers. HP printers, for example, have increased in price by more than 20% because of component shortages. But there are other methods to manage inflation too. Some companies use productivity improvements and cost savings. Economists at the Hoover Institution warn that the Fed could repeat mistakes from the 70s when the U.S. grappled with inflation. Economist John Cochran says the Fed is delaying interest rate hikes, just like it did in the 1970s. Evelyn Lee, NTD News.
Some of America's largest fast food chains like McDonald's or KFC are getting rid of $5 and under value items. Instead, consumers will get more expensive combination meals. It's partly because they're trying to offset rising food costs. Conway G. Gittins has more.
Squeezed by higher food costs, America's fast food chains are shifting their focus to the higher end of the menu. Instead of prominently featuring the $5 and under value meals, chains like McDonald's are upscaling their combo items and upscaling the price. The world's largest fast food chain is now aggressively promoting its $10 Chicken McNugget BTS meal, named for the popular South Korean boy band that endorses it, and scaling back its $1, $2, $3 menu to just 8 items instead of 12. And Mickey D's is not alone. Data show fast food chains launched fewer new combination meals over the last 18 months, and when there are new deals, the price tags are higher. That's something avid fast food eater Randy Slaughter of Tucson, Arizona has noticed. He uses apps on his mobile phone to help him pick where to eat based on which of his favorite spots still have the best value meals.
I will look elsewhere if, for example, when they're taking it away, someone else adds it. I'll kind of pivot for a little while.
It's not just higher food costs that's driving fast food chains to offer higher priced combo meals. Demand soared throughout the health crisis with few alternative eating options out there. And not only that, the current popularity of chicken sandwiches means fast food chains don't have to discount as much. Wendy's, which popularized its 99-cent Biggie menu in 1989, is now seeing success with a new $7 spicy pretzel bacon pub. And it's not just chicken. Demand is also so strong for pizza that Domino's said it has suspended a half-price pizza promotion for online orders. But not all of the deals are gone. There are just fewer of them.
And stocks finished mixed today. The Dow lost 71 points, 0.2%. S&P 500 dropped 5 points, about 0.1%. But the Nasdaq gained 18 points, also just about 0.1%. And today, President Biden's top economic aide called the pandemic a wake-up call to restore the U.S. manufacturing industry. He also mentioned 5 core pillars for Biden's industrial strategy, including strengthening American supply chains and rebuilding industrial bases.
National Economic Council Director Brian Deese Wednesday called the pandemic a wake-up call to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S.
This crisis and this recovery expose a long-term hollowing out of our country's industrial base, which happened over years and decades.
Deese gave some examples, including generic drugs, rare earth, and semiconductor industries. He said that today, nearly 90% of generic drug ingredient facilities are located overseas and have been moving offshore for the last 50 years.
Today, I'm very excited to lay out a vision for a 21st century American industrial strategy, a strategy to strengthen our supply chains, rebuild our industrial base across sectors, technologies, and regions of this country.
Deese listed 5 core pillars of Biden's industrial strategy. He also mentioned that the Biden administration has proposed the largest civilian investment in public R&D on record, $180 billion, as well as a $100 billion investment in American workforce development.
The reason is straightforward. Markets on their own will not make investments in technologies and in infrastructure that benefit an entire industry.
Deese also defended Biden's large industry-related spending plan, saying it will be spread out over 8 to 10 years. He said the investment is only 1% of GDP per year. These comments come as the White House is trying to make a deal with Republicans on the infrastructure plan. There is growing momentum for a 2-step approach, with a bipartisan plan first. Then Democrats may go it alone to pass a much bigger spending package through the budget reconciliation process. Colin Fredrickson, NTD News.
And 1/3 of the sponsors for this year's European Soccer Championships are Chinese companies, making China the largest financier of the event. This has caused some concerns in Europe. 4 major Chinese companies, including Hisense, Alipay, Vivo, and TikTok, are among the 12 sponsors of the Euro Cup. The sponsorship helps Chinese companies gain visibility on an international stage, and Chinese state-run media considers it a political win for China. But corporate sponsorships coming from authoritarian states are what concerns Europe. Volkswagen is the only European company among the sponsors. Swiss media reported that European values are not represented in the event by the sponsoring companies. And worrying news in Hong Kong as one of the city's last pro-democracy newspapers, Apple Daily, is closing down. Authorities stormed its offices and arrested 5 editors and executives last week. They used Beijing's draconian national security law as an excuse. NTD's Patrick Hayden has the details.
Hong Kong's pro-democracy newspaper Apple Daily will stop publishing Thursday. Reuters reports that owner Jimmy Lai's Next Digital says the newspaper will come to an end no later than Saturday. Hong Kongers have seen their freedoms curtailed since the introduction of a national security law imposed by mainland China.
And don't try to accuse the Hong Kong authorities for using the national security law as a tool to suppress the media or to stifle the freedom of expression. All those accusations made by the US government, I'm afraid, are wrong.
Mr. Lai is already in jail under a string of charges. Last week, 500 officers raided Apple Daily and Next Digital. They arrested 5 editors and executives and froze $2.3 million of assets. Police cited more than 30 articles published by the paper as evidence of alleged conspiracy. They say it was to encourage foreign nations to impose sanctions on Hong Kong and China. It's the first time that police action has been taken against journalists using the national security law. The Apple Daily announcement coincided with the start of the city's first trial under the new law. Patrick Hayden, NTD News.
Still to come this evening. A lab finds Subway tuna sandwiches have no tuna DNA. Does it mean it's not real tuna, or could there be another explanation? And a high-tech pair of sunglasses hits the market, featuring both reading mode and scenic mode. The specs can refocus at the touch of a button, designed to mimic natural human vision. That and more after this short break.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Hi folks, Joe Namath here, and if you're on Medicare, this is important. You're now entitled to eliminate copays and get dental care, dentures, eyeglasses, prescription coverage, in-home aids, unlimited transportation, and home-delivered meals, all at no additional cost. Plus, your zip code may have coverage with the Give Back benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every month.
I called to get dental, transportation, meals, and the Give Back benefit.
With this virus situation, I called to get everything I'm entitled to. I couldn't believe I was missing out on so many benefits.
With the uncertainty of the virus, you need to get everything you're entitled to. Millions of people have trusted the Medicare Coverage Helpline. You can too. Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-764-1930. That's 1-800-764-1930 now.
Welcome back. There is apparently no tuna in a Subway tuna sandwich. A lab test of 5-foot-long sandwiches found no tuna DNA at all. Researchers commissioned by the New York Times bought the sandwiches from 3 Subway shops in Los Angeles. They were analyzed in a fish testing lab, and the lab said the sandwich is either so heavily processed that it couldn't identify it as tuna, or there's just no tuna in the sandwiches. A similar test in February for Inside Edition did find tuna DNA in the sandwiches. After a lawsuit in January based on a no real tuna claim, Subway said it serves 100% wild-caught tuna, and that's why it's one of the Subway's most popular products. When it comes to health, they say prevention is better than cure. So now Peloton is packaging its online fitness class memberships as employee benefits. The app usually costs $13 per month, but Peloton is introducing a corporate program that offers it for free for employees of participating companies. The deal also comes with discounts in Peloton hardware, including its popular bikes. The program will be available to employers in 5 countries, including the US, Canada, and the UK, and the company has already signed up big names for the launch, including Wayfair and Samsung. And there are a new type of reading glasses that can instantly change prescription via a mobile app. They can even become sunglasses with a swipe of your finger. NTD's Colin Fredrickson has the details.
Introducing 32 North.
This pair of glasses gives the word multi-purpose new meaning. Functioning as sunglasses one minute, they dynamically shift into prescription reading glasses the next. On Tuesday, Tel Aviv-based company Deepoptics unveiled its first ever adaptive focus sunglasses.
So this is 32 North. This is actually the first adaptive focus sunglasses. Sunglasses that can adapt to both reading and scenic modes. Basically, you can wear them like I do now, and simply by swiping, you can change the focus of the glasses from far distance to reading, just by swiping.
32 North sunglasses feature liquid crystal layers that are split into millions of tiny turnable pixels on the panel. The smart eyewear mimics natural human vision. When the user swipes, they activate an embedded processor, sending the user's prescription to each pixel, forming the correct lens. The liquid layer is also connected to the battery in the control circuit. This allows for more operations accessible via smart device.
We also added an app. You can download an app with these glasses for your Android or iOS system, and then this app will automatically tune the glasses to fit your prescription, to fit your IPD.
The company says the system can last all day on a single charge due to its low power consumption. 32 North is now on sale for early buyers, priced at $229.
And scientists believe they may have found a way to study the interior of Venus without landing on its surface. It's developed a balloon that is able to detect earthquakes on Earth, barometers which measure changes in air pressure and are attached to the high-altitude balloons. Using the technology, scientists were able to detect aftershocks of an earthquake in California in 2019, and now they're hoping the technique can be used to reveal the mysteries of Venus. Nothing is able to land on the planet because its temperatures and air pressure are so high. And the delayed Tokyo Olympics has cost Japan in more ways than one. Here are some of the ways where costs have grown and where expected income won't materialize. Megan Revel reports.
The Tokyo Olympic Games will get underway in July, barring Armageddon, as one IOC member put it. But the delay has been expensive in various ways. Organisers previously put the entire cost of holding the Games at around $15.4 billion, including $2.8 billion for the unprecedented postponement from 2020. Since then, the projected bill for postponement has crept up to $3 billion. A key source of revenue, ticket sales, has been crippled due to new restrictions outlined by Tokyo 2020 President Seikei Hashimoto. With millions of tickets refunded, revenues are likely to be reduced by more than half, from an earlier expected $815 million. Overseas ticket holders have also been banned, killing hopes of a tourism windfall. Over 60 Japanese companies paid a record of more than $3 billion to sponsor the Games. Sponsors dished out another $200 million to extend contracts after everything was postponed. And that doesn't include partnerships with companies such as Toyota, Panasonic and South Korea's Samsung, which, through a separate program for top-tier sponsors, have separate deals with the IOC worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Although the cancellation scenario is looking less likely by the day, global insurers would face a hefty bill should that happen, with estimates running to a loss of $2 to $3 billion. The IOC takes out about $800 million of protection for each Summer Games, which covers most of the roughly $1 billion investment it makes in each host city. Local organisers in Tokyo will have taken out a further policy, estimated at around $650 million. Analysts have estimated the insured cost of the 2020 Olympics at $2 billion, including TV rights and sponsorship, plus $600 million for hospitality.
That's the latest business updates for today, but you can still catch NTD Evening News with Stephanie Cox at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For NTD Business, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
We have a new channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube at NTD News. Get the highlights of our news broadcast and the most important headlines that we curate especially for you.
Don't let YouTube decide what information you get. That's your choice. YouTube is deleting our videos and cuts you off from a source of honest reporting. Make sure you don't lose access to NTD's news content, and take a quick moment to subscribe to our newsletter so no matter what happens here, you'll keep your access to a trustworthy news source.